Chapter 31. A fuss-free order. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Trepetro. Ow, just you wait, I'm gonna fking call the cops. God damn, it hurts. The badly battered Qian Xiaomeng laid there on the ground as blood kept following out of his mouth. The new-looking casual suit he was wearing was in ruins, with Yi Qing's footprints all over it. Help. Everyone help. This pair of assholes, please help call the cops. Qian Xiaomeng, who's been taking the beatings over and over again, finally collapsed and was looking towards the onlookers for help. The onlookers acted as if free money was being given away. They came together, pointing and sending looks everywhere. Except they were obviously leaning towards Yi Qing. After all, the two on the ground and the one standing are all dressed like hooligans and gangster wannabes. As for Yi Qing and Zhang Zhidong, describing them as golden children would be a bit too much, but calling the girl beautiful is more than fitting. The onlookers quickly picked their side and no one wanted to make the call. Calling people to rob someone in broad daylight and still daring to call the cops. Fine then, I'll make the call myself. Zhang Zhidong's icy cold voice came out, and she called the police's internal lines. Right now the street is a complete mess. Apart from Yi Qing, no one else heard what Zhang Zhidong said during the call clearly. The bystanders believed that Zhang Zhidong merely called the police. A couple of enthusiastic youngsters, who were also in the restaurant, vouched that when the police came that they would be willing to be witnesses. So what's going on? How come you have beef with this bunch? After finishing the call, Zhang Zhidong strangely asked. Yi Qing helplessly shrugged, and told her the whole story. Upon hearing the cause, Zhang Zhidong became somewhat angry again. She nodded and gave Yi Qing a look that said, I got it. The police soon arrived on scene. Only a couple of minutes later, an electric police patrol car squeezed past everyone. Get up, get up. You're coming with me to the department. An officer with his metal baton in hand, cruelly poked the still-lying Qian Xiaomeng. This bunch of youngsters quickly gathered and every one of them started to describe how frightening Qian Xiaomeng and his group was. They nearly described the bunch as river bandits, saying they not only wanted to steal the car, but also wanted to molest this girl. Great job. Our society is always missing people like you guys, youngsters who are willing to point out the unjust. The leading police officer happily praised them. I need to go and sort this out. Zhang Zhidong whispered into Yi Qing's ear. If stuff like this happens again, call me, I'll have it sorted out. Zhang Zhidong's whispering voice carried the smell of alcohol, which caused Yi Qing's ear to itch quite a bit. It also gave Yi Qing some uncontrollable thoughts. Alright, but I'm paying next time. Deal. Zhang Zhidong smiled, then entered the patrol car. Yi Qing had some reluctance upon seeing the patrol car leave. Zhang Zhidong's nature and lack of restraint easily blew away the deep scar buried so long ago. Walking to the end of Cai Street, Yi Qing bought a cup of freshly squeezed mango juice to quench his thirst and called for a taxi to head to the construction materials market. Electric cables, hollow bricks, cement, gravel, sand, paint, steel reinforcing bars, glass windows. The shipyard needs to be renovated from the bottom up. Yi Qing had to order over 100 tons of cement alone. Right now the whole construction market is at a downturn, so lots of stores have large quantities of materials accumulated. Yi Qing's huge purchase this time only cost him 320 yuan per ton of loose cement. Similarly, these stores were also extremely quick in sending off their products. Just as Yi Qing left the stores, they had already contacted their warehouse and was ready to send out the products. Buying all these materials cost Yi Qing almost 300,000. Then Yi Qing headed to a second-hand machinery market at the south end of the city, preparing to buy a batch of much-needed machinery. Double-spindle CNC machining lathe, double-column precision punch, 5-axis vertical machining center. The factory doesn't have these machines, but they are strictly required to make parts for the rapid metal engraving machine as stated in the blueprint. The curbstones becoming an instant hit is already guaranteed. Yi Qing must grab the opportunity to create more of these rapid metal engravers so that he can earn more development funding. The first two types of second-hand machines are rather cheap to procure, but the 5-axis vertical machining center is undoubtedly expensive. Even if it's the domestic XH1270 small machining centers, it still costs 120,000. You can't not buy them. These high-precision machining centers are the core of all industrial industries. Having tested the precision and functionality of the machines, Yi Qing straight up paid for the machines and had them send the machines to the new factory's address. When Yi Qing finally finished his shopping list and hurried back to Dragon Creek Beach, tens of trucks were already parked in the yard with workers unloading the stuff non-stop. The gantry crane from the original shipyard had its motors sold off a long time ago, so there was absolutely no way to use it. Hence the workers busied themselves for over an hour before they finally unloaded everything. Having signed the receipt, the 3 machining machines also arrived. Fortunate, Yi Qing warned them to bring a forklift, otherwise there would be no way to move them at all. When the 3 machines were transported into the original ship warehouse, the workers and drivers waved goodbye to Yi Qing before driving off. The bustling shipyard quieted down again. There seriously wasn't any sign of life there. The overgrowth there was extreme. With the barren waste hills acting as an obstruction, forget building a machining factory, people still wouldn't notice even if someone tossed a heavy bomb here. After several minutes passed, Yi Qing scanned the surroundings and satisfyingly nodded his head. Pulling out the monster factory cell phone, Yi Qing summoned all 10 peons and 2 master artisans. When the 10 NBA player-like, green-skinned, tusked peons with fists that are bigger than sandbags appeared, the air surrounding them seemingly stopped moving for a second from the shock of their astronomical strength. The 2 master artisans were standing right in front of them, giving off an image quite similar to ordinary people taking pictures with Yao Ming. From their outer appearance alone, the artisans resemble regular humans. Their 160 centimeters-ish body height and slouched posture really resembles old fellows. The master artisans don't have the robust strength of the peons, but they have an amazing intellect and a pair of hands that is even more nimble than 8th tier, master, fitters. Yi Qing giving the 2 the responsibility of reconstructing the shipyard was undoubtedly the correct choice. After Yi Qing roughly planned out the layout of the new factory, the 2 artisans immediately began to give out commands to the peons to start moving the bricks and rebars. Yi Qing planned to surround the entire shipyard with a 3-meter wall, tear down and reconstruct the existing dock, and build a couple of new 2-story office buildings. As for the factory's electric wiring, Yi Qing planned to do the job himself. To construct 3-phase 380W lines is a walk in the park for him. When these peons start working, one of them alone is more than enough to replace 10 ordinary workers. When they bend thumb-size thick rebars, they don't even need to use steel wrenches, all they need to do is bend it with their bare hands into any shape they desire. Inside the building, Yi Qing is currently erecting the electrical cables, but an unknown number called Yi Qing's cell. "Hello, is this Mr. Yi?" Clear and bright laughter can be heard coming for the other end. "I'm Lu Jingdong, the chief of the City Construction Management Office." "Hi there Chief Lu, is there anything I can help you with?" Yi Qing hurriedly stopped what he was doing and asked. That batch of curbstones really hit the mark. We got so many calls from the citizens this afternoon asking us if we can swap out the curbstones with these carved ones in front of their homes. Haha, of course there is no way these wishes can be satisfied. Many of these streets have already been renovated recently, so even if we have ample budget left, we still can't waste it like this. Chief Lu first made some polite chit-chat with Yi Qing, then feeling that the timing is right, asked a simple yet straight-to-the-point question. "Oh right, Mr.Ye, those engraving machines that you use to carve the curbstones, where did you buy them from?" "I just happen to have a friend who is in the stone processing business in Xi'an County. I don't know from which group he got the pictures of the curbstones on Sci-fi Street from, but he strongly insisted on asking me to help him order a couple of them. Chapter 32. The Natural Cavern. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Trepetro. No problem, Chief Lu. If you have any problems, I'll naturally offer help. But Yi Qing also changed the subject. Chief Lu, you might not know, but these machines aren't from any foreign markets. This is a new product currently under development in my factory, thought it should be able to hit the market soon after it has finished all its trials. You know that my factory mainly manufactures cutting machines and tools. Now that this market is saturated with similar businesses, it's really hard to make a living. And this is our result after creating a new product based on the metal engravers. Still in trial. Chief Lu is now interested. Then how long would it be before it hits the markets? Mr. Yi, we're friends, right? Look, I even got your first batch of orders for you. And that friend of mine says that he wants to order 5 of these engravers. As long as the engravers aren't sold to Sangqing or Jiangshan Masonry, then even if it were aliens looking to buy them, Yi Qing would still sell them regardless. Having Chief Lu pull in the first order, Yi Qing is quite delighted. This saves the trouble of going around advertising the machines. Yi Qing did some quick calculations to see how long it would be before he can mass-produce these machines. Rapid metal engraving machine, quality. Normal, has specific requirements. The blueprint specifically stated which processing machines are required, and at least one master artisan and peon need to participate in the assembling. The processing machines are all here, there are 2 master artisans free to participate, and don't even mention the peons. All that's left is to purchase the materials. The blueprint instructions also stated that it'll take roughly 2 days to assemble the whole thing. Buy all the materials tomorrow, then the first machine will be ready in 3 days. Soon, really soon. Probably within the next couple of days. Then I await good news. Just as Chief Lu was about to hang up, a thought suddenly popped up. Oh right, send me your email. I told the Design Institute to help me design a couple of Zhongyan specialty drawings. So the carvings for the other streets' curbstones should follow these drawings. Yi Qing happily agreed, and sent over his email as soon as the call ended. With business on the doorsteps, there is no way Yi Qing was going to refuse it. He already priced the engravers a long time ago at 500,000 per machine. Several tens of thousands in investments is able to turn several tens of times in just 2 days. This way of earning is definitely quicker than performing a bank heist. This is the absolute charm of superior technology. Originally, Yi Qing was constantly overworking to produce machines and pricing them the lowest possible within the whole market, but it was still impossible to sell them. Now Yi Qing hasn't even begun production yet million yuan orders are already flying in. Happily humming some music while getting back to work. When the red-dyed sunlight dropped below the horizon, the sea began to splash again the shore and the dock. Just as the tide began to rise, Yi Qing was finally able to finish everything on hand. When he entered the yard again, the sudden changes nearly caused Yi Qing to stumble head over heels. The wall has actually been stacked a meter tall by the monsters. You have to understand, the ground here is mostly made up of hard sandstone and buried volcanic rocks. The peons used only a couple of hours to not only set up the foundation for the wall but stacked it at least a meter tall. If he were to bring them out and go do construction work specifically, then Yi Qing can't imagine the work efficiency of these muscle heads. At the same time, he's anxiously waiting for the monster factory to level up to see if it can solve a simple yet annoying problem. The identity of the monsters. These human-shaped T-REXs, with their green skin, mane-like chest hair, and tusks sprouting out from their lower jaw. If this kind of appearance appeared on the streets, don't mention ordinary people, even Bear Grylls would be scared shitless upon meeting them. Last time Yi Qing tried to use black hair dye to disguise Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 into black people. But when they returned to the monster factory to rest, the dye disappeared and the cut-off tusks slowly grew back. The regeneration ability of the monster factory is just too powerful. This discovery made Yi Qing extremely happy as he can push these peons even further than before, but at the same time it gave his mind a boggling problem of how to disguise them. Now the only option left is to try to speed up the level-up process. When the monster factory levels up, then it might provide a be-all end-all solution to the problem. The requirement to level up from level 1 is to hire 10 peons. Now to level up from 2 to 3, there are 2 requirements. The first one is to successfully construct a machine out of the blueprints. The second step is still unclear, probably because he needs to complete the first step. Constructing the items in the blueprints isn't hard at all, it's only a 3-day wait. Oh right, the previous owner said that there was a natural cavern under the nearby cliff. It was described as a place of warmth during winter, a retreat during the summer, and its size was small at all. Yi Qing really wanted to take a look. For FK's sake, it's a freaking cave. Where is the need for it to be warm during winter and cool during summer? As long as it's dry enough, then it's completely possible to construct a secret base here. TL. Bat Cave. Ed. Na. Although Yi Qing doesn't flout the law, but men, all have a secret desire to own a secret base. Rolling up his pants, Yi Qing stepped on the reef rocks on the beach and headed towards the cliff in the west. Right now is the high tide period, so there were massive waves smashing against the cliff. Yi Qing braved the elements for a while before he found a small cave entrance behind a massive reef that is right next to the sea. What a secluded cave, the giant reef at the entrance of the cave completely covered it. If it wasn't for Yi Qing knowing that there was a cavern here, then there was no way he would have found it. It's just that right now is high tide with waves everywhere. Climbing down under these conditions is extremely difficult. Add on to the fact that it's pitch black inside, Yi Qing nearly gave up and thought of coming back later. A sudden thought flashed by, causing Yi Qing to face-palm. He quickly pulled out Monster Factory and summoned the MPCV. This guy is able to work on land and sea, plus it has a self-propelled track system. Using it to explore the cave is more than fitting. The beautifully designed casing of the MPCV and its formidable track system allowed it to travel through the reef-filled tunnel like it was flat land. Its 2 mechanical arms allowed it to pass through even the unmovable obstacles. The entrance to the cave is only 1.5 meters tall. When the MPCV entered, Yi Qing turned on its searchlights and rotated its cameras around to get an accurate view of the inside. This is a natural cave that can't be more normal. Nothing hung from the 8-meter-tall ceiling, and the cave span an area of around 300 square meters. There were also no traces of stalactites or amethysts. Of course the cave has its advantages, such as its massive area, and the dry interior. Completely unlike other caves, which are full of stalactites and leaking water, where tourists need a rain jacket just to enter. Controlling the MPCV around, Yi Qing suddenly found a pool of water in the back of the cave with the high-definition cameras. It's so dry here, so where did this pool come from? Yi Qing curiously drove the M.P. CV over. In the end, a bunch of water splashed out of the pool. These sudden splashes scared the wits out of Yi Qing. He nearly threw the Monster Factory cell phone into the cave. God, what the FK is this? Just as Yi Qing was about command Hulk 1 and Hulk 2 to head down and catch the ghost, a large black perch jumped out of the pool and flopped back and forth. This black perch clearly weighs over 10 pounds, who knew how it survived in this small pool of water? That's basically impossible, there no is way for it to find any food in this pool. Then there's only one rational answer. This pool is connected to the ocean from below. As for this perch, it's unfortunate that it entered the wrong cave. Black perches are very common along the shore, this wild one weighing in over 10 pounds is worth something, but Yi Qing has no plans to eat it. Because this guy is clearly deformed. Its original black and shiny skin has spots of red and white. A decade or so ago, the water quality here at the Dragon Creek beach was absolutely superb. The shore was full of fishes and sea critters. Many fishermen also came here looking for clams and oysters. Later the water quality deteriorated due to pollution. When all the clams and oysters died out, the fishermen all left and the shipyard went bankrupt, allowing Yi Qing to pick up this place for so cheap. This unfortunate black perch is definitely a victim here because it doesn't even look like a perch anymore. Driving the MPCV into the pool, sure enough at the bottom of the pool there was a big and dark tunnel snaking towards the ocean. Yi Qing opened the MPCV's underwater propulsion system, and like a torpedo, it sped off towards the ocean. The underwater tunnel is both long and narrow, and the bottom was full of bones and shells. There were also a lot of abalone shells mixed in. Yi Qing even found a couple abalone shells that are as big as a rice bowl. If it wasn't for the contamination in the area, using the MPCV to harvest the abalone alone would bring in a substantial income. Having operated the MPCV at full power for more than 10 minutes, Yi Qing finally explored the entire underwater tunnel. According to the data on the cell phone, the MPCV was roughly 5 kilometers to the east of Yi Qing. The exit of the tunnel is on a seabed slope. Yi Qing controlled the MPCV out into the sea, but for some unknown reason, the visibility here was incredibly poor. Operating the camera around, just as Yi Qing planned to take the MPCV for a spin to search for any worthwhile scenes on the seafloor. Not far from the exit, a metal pipe that is covered with silt and broken shells, extended straight out of the seafloor. And at the end of the pipe, a corroded drainage outlet lie on the bottom of the ocean, spewing out endless amounts of dark green sewage. Chapter 33. Karma. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Trepetro. No wonder the water quality here at the Dragon Creek beach kept deteriorating. So there's a factory secretly dumping wastewater here. This kind of dark green sewage is probably coming from a nearby chemical plant. Furthermore, from the heavy corrosion and the amount of silt on top of the pipe, it has probably been in use for many years now. To be honest, the discharge of wastewater by companies is an art. The low-end companies directly discharge their wastewater stealthily into rivers and lakes. Then, not long after they start discharging, the entire lake or river is either colored gorgeously like a flower bed or stinks to no end. This is really easy for the Bureau of Industry and Commerce and Environment Protection Office to find and sue them for. Owners who dare to do this generally are low-level scum with thick skins. After they pay the fine that comes with the lawsuit, they just look for a different location to do it all over again. As for the more well-off companies, they would drill a well to connect to the underground water system and use high-pressure systems to pump the wastewater directly into the ground. Companies using these kind of methods are rarely caught. The tap water that ordinary citizens use generally comes from surface wells, so there is a very low probability of someone getting contaminated. But the drawbacks for these methods are quite clear. There is only so much room in the underground aquifers, so it can only be used by those companies with small amounts of sewage. If it was the pipe next to the MPCV, then it would probably fill up the underground aquifer in just half a month when running at full capacity. Discharging into the deep sea is clearly one of the best options available. The seawater moves with each high and low tide. It also has all kinds of currents and jet streams to move the water. As soon as the wastewater is discharged, it'll be immediately dispersed by the currents. Plus the color of the wastewater is quite similar to the surrounding water, so it's next to impossible to detect it above the waters. At the same time, the cost of constructing a deep-sea discharge pipeline is simply astonishing. It's definitely not for the light-hearted. But if this price tag is paid for, then the cost of treating the wastewater will be forever saved. There is only Yi Qing developing here at Dragon Creek Beach, but even so, now that he's found the cause of the surrounding water deterioration, he definitely needed to do something. The first idea that popped into Yi Qing's mind was to weld the discharge end shut. This way the chemical factory will really be stuck because they need to cut open a new opening along the pipeline before they can start discharging again. Underwater works are always difficult. Not mentioning anything else, just for the chemical factory to find the end of this pipeline will most likely take a significant amount of effort, money, and time. At the same time, if you were to weld the pipe shut, then it'll also raise suspicions as there are only 2 companies in Zhongyan that can perform underwater construction works. Hence Yi Qing directly drove the MPCV back, then had a peon find a piece of wood from the warehouse and cut it into a big cork. Yi Qing, using his pocket knife, carved a whale and a circle-shaped English logo onto the wood. Sea Shepherd Conservation Society. This is an international conservation society that can easily rival a small nation's naval powers. They regularly appear on the news, using water cannons and stink bombs to disrupt whaling operations. Yi Qing doesn't have any favorable impression of this group of foreigners, but neither does he care. Using them as a scapegoat here is more than appropriate. 10 minutes later, the MPC V carried the giant cork in its arms, following the underwater tunnel, drove back to the rusted pipeline. The discharge rate of the pipeline isn't fast at all. The MPCV, with its mechanical arms, can easily lift several hundred-pound object. Using it here to stick the cork into the pipe is just too easy. Moreover, wood materials will swell upon getting spooked, so it's a very fitting choice for sealing off the pipe. At this moment, on the other end of the underwater pipeline, a factory situated west of Huanhai Avenue, 10+ kilometers away from the Dragon Creek Beach, is a large chemical plant which specializes in producing all kinds of plastic materials. A water pump system with high levels of automation and many large pumps was working at full capacity, pumping the wastewater from the wastewater reservoir into the pipeline and out into the ocean. This set of equipment is called the negative pressure free water supply control system. Normally only water pumping stations use them to send water through long distances. Just as it was working happily, suddenly a barrage of dididi buzzed from the control system, and all the machinery in the system stopped working. The person on duty, who was leisurely watching TV, had quite the scare, and immediately went to find the cause. Losing pressure from the pipeline means the pipeline was unable to discharge its contents properly. This shift worker hurriedly increased the outgoing pressure, hoping that the increase in pressure could break through whatever was blocking the pipeline. Setup complete, the pressurized system began to work again, yet came to a crashing halt again in just several minutes. Unable to get rid of the wastewater means a delay to the entire production system. With no other options left, the worker in the control room called the owner on the internal line and made a huge fuss about it. 10 minutes later, a big-bellied man wearing a gold watch entered. The pipeline got blocked by some unknown object. The worker in charge carefully explained. Then hurry up and increase the pressure. If the pipe is blocked, then the wastewater pool will fill up in less than half an hour. The owner is anxious as all heck. Are you looking to stop the whole production line here? It's no use, boss, I already set the pressure to max. Keep it on then, how the heck do you screw up at watching a machine? The plant owner angrily said. Keep the pressure at max, I do not believe that the blockage can't be flushed away. The person in charge of overlooking the equipment hurriedly nodded, ran over to the control system, then with experienced hands set the pressure system to bypass its safety measures. Half a minute later, the pressurized system started to run again. This time there were no restrictions. High-pressured air began to flow into the pipe from the compressor non-stop. As the hand on the pressure gauge increased non-stop, the plant owner's face paled non-stop. Normally when the pipe gets blocked, it's always when there isn't a need to get rid of the wastewater. It's not rare for the pipe to get blocked due to all the algae and junk being carried by the current. But generally these things won't cause the pressure to budge at all, and are really easy to flush out. Now, it actually got blocked during working hours. And the blockage is really extreme since the pressure isn't dropping at all. Bang! The sound of a large explosion broke his thoughts. The pipeline safety bolts shot out and wastewater as far as the eyes could see shot out like a water cannon. The person on duty in the factory's boss cried out in despair, but to no avail. They didn't even get the chance to run, as the wastewater shot across the whole room. Dark green wastewater, an overwhelming stench, don't mention getting drenched, just the smell alone is enough to make someone faint. Now the two of them are completely soaked in it. Hell. Vomit. The owner didn't even get the chance to yell for help, before he was made to vomit by the smell in the room. At this very moment, Yi Qing just packed up all his tools, and stood on Huanhai Avenue waiting for Gangjie Chemicals boss Gong Wei to pick him up. Yesterday he made me accept this thank you dinner no matter what, and he's even taking me to the most expensive place in Zhongyan just to get high. TL, not drug high. Alright. Yi Qing admitted that he was interested. The most expensive place in Zhongyan by last night's research was Silver Palace Entertainment Club. The internet described the place as members only. Ordinary people don't even have the qualifications to enter. A rose-red Bentley Mulsanne glided to a stop in front of Yi Qing. When the back window came down, it exposed Gong Wei's proud face. Xiao Yi, get on. Chapter 34. Gifts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Trapetro. Holy shit. Last time Gong Wei was raining tears, in a complete wreck, and was directly neglected by Yi Qing. Who would have thought that this guy was this flamboyant? Bentley Mulsanne is the perfect answer from Bentley's chief designers to compete with other luxury cars like Mercedes Maybach, Rolls-Royce's Phantom, and so on. Of course its price is also outrageous. Even if it's only the standard version, it'll still come with a hefty price tag of 6 million yuan. Yi Qing can't tell whether this car in front of him is the standard version or custom-made. But that doesn't matter much as he still got in the back. As soon as Yi Qing sat down, Gong Wei told the driver to head to Tianranju and began to brag about that batch of materials of his. Saying how extraordinary the quality of the material that resulted from the reaction was. Even BASF's procurer praised it with "Wairue good." Yi Qing can only respond with it probably had some accidental reaction that caused an increase in quality. Or that it's because of how great the two professors' instructions were. Gong Wei happily laughed and said no matter how good the result was, if it wasn't for your help, then I can only cry myself to death. Later we definitely need to drink a couple rounds. If you encounter any trouble in the future then call me, I can definitely help out around here. From the middle storage bin, Gong Wei pulled a delicately packed black case and handed it to Yi Qing. This is a gift from one of my business partners. It's a Piaget brand watch, hasn't been opened yet, and very suitable for you youngsters. A gift for me. Yi Qing remembered that Piaget brand watches is on the luxury watch list, and the cheapest is a couple tens of thousands, so what's wrong with Gong Wei right now? Ha ha ha, you didn't know I was gonna be rich. Gong Wei, as if having won this week's lottery, joyously said. Because I finished this batch order with both speed and quality, BASF is looking to sign a long-term deal with us. BASF, that's a Leviathan-like listed international chemical corporation. A single hair of its leg is more than enough profits for me to retire and then some. If it wasn't for your help, I would be completely screwed. Ha 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 ha. Gong Wei allowed no explanation as he shoved the box into Yi Qing's hands and told him to try it out. Capitalists all chase for gains to no end. The expensive watch Gong Wei just gifted to Yi Qing isn't just to say thank you. Since Yi Qing is able to make underwater welding robots, then the amount of profit he can earn from it in the future is simply unimaginable. When these machines hit the market, then that's when Yi Qing will enter the billionaire club. Getting into Yi Qing's good books now, will result in a great friendship later on in the future. Merchants are all about their connections. The more friends you have, the better off you are. With Gong Wei being this sincere, had Yi Qing stopped being evasive and wholeheartedly accept this brand-named watch? When my factory's big and famous, I can always give him some small work to get by. At the same time, gifts like these are guaranteed to increase both in price and quantity in the future. Thinking up to here, Yi Qing was completely delighted. Before it was always him giving away things like gas cards, gift cards, and so on. Now it's others gifting him stuff, and to top it all off, a name brand watch at the very start. This is a series of high-end watches specifically designed for successful young people by Piaget. This Altiplano series watch has a platinum backing, and black alligator leather straps. Its appearance is simple yet sophisticated, its price is also very beautiful, 115,000 yuan. Yi Qing tuned the time on the watch in accordance to his cell phone, then, put it on in a very flashing manner. Probably because this is the first time he ever wore such expensive accessory, Yi Qing kept on having the urge to raise his left hand when talking with others. While chit-chatting, the Bentley quickly entered the light-blazing Liangjiang Road. The driver skillfully stopped the car in front of Tianranju's main entrance, then hurried down to help open Yi Qing's door. Yi Qing is the guest here, he is also the honorable guest that Gong Wei specifically picked up, so naturally the driver will open his door first. Just as Yi Qing got off, he suddenly felt several provocative people trying to size him up. Even the two beautiful receptionists that were hiding behind the antique-like wooden door also ran out and sweetly said, "Welcome, mister. Today they are here to welcome and entertain well a VIP client and his honorable guest. There exists less than 50 Tianranju VIP cards, so of course these receptionists can call out their owners by name." Now that Gong Wei has gotten out of the car, these beautiful receptionists naturally understand Yi Qing here is tonight's person of honor. Then they were shocked. Because there was a boss who previously told them to entertain the young man standing in front of them well as an honorable guest. Who is he? These pretty receptionists were somewhat dumbstruck. Because what's up with this young man, every time he comes here, it's always under the invitation of some major company's owner. Hello everybody on Brawl on the tip of the tongue. Tonight Dowdu is happy to be able to meet with everyone again. A girl with a picturesque-like face and snow-white skin, stood beside Tianranju's main entrance with her cell phone out taking pictures of the shop's golden sign. Tianranju's sign has a long history. It's said to have been passed down from a patriotic warlord during the Republic of China period. Last time we interviewed a young boss, who said that the seafood here was great. Dowdu, who was elegantly dressed, charmingly faced the tens of thousands in her audience and smiled. Now I'm in front of Tianranju and inviting everyone to dine with me. The chat stream literally descended into chaos as many viewers, who had seen the last episode, started to ridicule and mock Yi Qing. If that man is a boss, then I'm the CEO of a listed corporation. Street Stall's secret president is so poor. Ahahaha, this is just too funny, that guy is full of bullshit, there is no way he ever came to Tianranju before. People nowadays are even pretending to be company owners, what has the world come to? Guys, look at below the sign, there's a Bentley there. After the reminder of this skilled audience member, the screen exploded with stuff like, "Holy shit, million yuan Bentley Mulsanne." Some say, "Who drove my car here?" Others encouraged Dowdu to ask the owner to let her take some pictures of the Mulsanne's interior to show off to her fans. Luxury cars are always an item that can easily bring up any atmosphere, it's also a key point for all streamers. Naturally Dowdu will get close to the car to get up close and take personal footage of it. With this shot, the screen can't be described as exploded anymore, it's more like it has been carpet bombed by a fleet of hundreds of B.52s. Tens of thousands of viewers, clearly saw a highly capable driver, get out from the driver's seat, open the door for a young man in the back seat and make a professional please gesture. Who has ever seen this kind of movie movements in real life? The Bentley Mulsanne, which is on the same tier as the Rolls-Royce Phantom, had the viewers howl and shout non-stop. They all placed themselves in the shoes of the young man, and Tsunami like 666 can't even begin to describe 10% of their feelings. TL. 666 implies super cool, ultra awesome, and the likes. Jealous and envy is clear in every sentence that appeared on the screen. The audience was split between the jealous and envious ones, the ones who were still daydreaming about the Bentley, and the one who wanted Dowdu to approach this flamboyant and dazzling young man and hit on him. TL. You know what it means. Wink wink, wait, hold on. Dowdu was suddenly stunned, then can't help but walk forward a bit, put the camera in focus, and center on the honorable guest that was just respectfully welcomed into the restaurant. Look guys, look who it is. Chapter 35. Bro, don't be like this. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Trepetro. Guys, look who it is. Dowdu is somewhat interested, just like how everyone wants to get a piece of the action when some shocking news happens right in front of them. When the camera finally focused, the audience went ape shit with, who is this flashy, this is definitely me, and so on. This young man definitely isn't a superstar, so why do we need to see him? Dowdu is ours. This was what much of the viewing audience thought. Look carefully guys, look carefully. Dowdu moved closer towards Yi Ching again, even her voice started to crack up. Now every audience member widened their eyes and began to carefully examine the stream in front of them. Then, a red banner appeared. Holy shit, it's the guy who Dowdu interviewed last time. As soon as this banner appeared, it caused a chain reaction. Closely following suit, countless viewers who saw what happened last time came out and indicated how similar the guy in the camera is like one from last episode. People with good eyesight even expressed, in ways words can't describe, how shocking this was. They're shocked because the one who was ridiculed to no end by all of them at the street stall was now sitting in a Bentley with his own driver, like a king, receiving a very enthusiastic welcome from Tian Ranju's beautiful receptionists. When Yi Ching's identity was confirmed, the tens of thousands of viewers suddenly went dead quiet. No one said anything. It's as if everyone suddenly went offline. However, this break only lasted for about 10 seconds before everyone snapped back to reality. Then they went on a riot. The banner and the chat system, just like a tsunami, came crashing down. Bro, you're just too low key to the point of being unforgettable. I'm ashamed, I plead guilty, bro please take my knees, President, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I gotta kneel, this Bentley, even the wealthy in my town can't afford it. This guy's is simply too low profile, even walking to eat at street stalls. I'm done, time to go eat at street stalls. I plead guilty, I need to go to Tian Ranju and personally plead guilty to this brother. Tens of thousands of viewers, almost all used their best praise, and gave it to Yi Ching. Right now, Dowdu's shock was definitely not less than that of the viewers. Last time when she interviewed him, he was simply too low key to the point of being able to mix with the customers there. Yet, today's him is just too eye-catching. Just like a horse let loose, completely wild and untamable. The chaos brought forth by the tens of thousands of viewers also alerted Yi Ching that someone was watching him. Slightly turning his head, a cartoon-like girl with hesitant looks was shockingly staring at him. TL. Waifu material detected. The beautiful girl was simply too hard to forget. Even if it was just a couple of days, Yi Ching still recognized her on the spot. Hi Dowdu. Yi Ching took the initiative and greeted her. What a coincidence, are you also here for dinner? Yi. Yeah. Dowdu is somewhat embarrassed now, and even stuttering. Last time, just like all of her viewers, she didn't believe that Yi Ching was a boss and whatnot. Who would have thought that he was the boss of a major company? Using the words rich youth to describe him was more than fitting. A barrage of banners flashed past and countless people expressed their emotions by sending heartbreak emojis. The viewers, while being sour at how flashy, how drag, and how dazzling Yi Ching was, also said that with how Dowdu's face was red, that she was definitely gonna betray them now. No, not like this. Dowdu is gonna go become his first lady now, she'll definitely forget about all of us in the future. As soon as that sentence appeared, the majority of the audience agreed and threatened to unsubscribe and unfollow. Gong Wei, having gotten out from the other door, was still thinking of his successful future, and the atmosphere surrounding him also displayed it. Of course, because the first impression was the strongest, all of the viewers immediately shoved him under the category of hitching a ride instead of being the one who owned the car. If it wasn't for the driver letting Yi Qing out first, who would have mistaken him this badly? "Mr. Yi, who is this beautiful friend of yours? Wanna introduce her?" Gong Wei clicked his tongue and asked. "Little girl, are you here dining here alone? This is Dowdu, she's currently doing a show about the wonderful foods in Zhongyan." Yi Qing roughly introduced, then turned around and asked Dowdu. "Wanna join us? Me and Mr. Gong here are only here for the food, not here to talk business." Yes, we even booked a room for the few of us." Gong Wei gave out an invitation. Today's meal is purely for thanking Yi Qing, so there were no outsiders, just him, two of his supervisors, and Yi Qing. No need. Dowdu became even more embarrassed, and hurriedly declined Gong Wei's invitation. What is this joke? They're all people from the upper echelons of society. They're clearly unfamiliar with me, and this is only out of politeness. The cell phone screen was now completely filled with "go." The viewers now all believed that Yi Qing was simply too powerful, and that no matter how much they tip or donate now, there was no way for them to get back Dowdu's attention. So they might as well go with the flow and have Dowdu accept the invitation. This way not only will they be able to experience the lifestyle of the upper echelons, but also be able to brag about it to their friends. Dowdu doesn't even have the courage to look at the flickering screen anymore. I'm currently shooting a show, it's definitely going to disturb you guys, so no need. Oh right, I'm Bai Daoer. Dowdu politely raised her right hand. I'm Yi Qing. Yi Qing extended his left hand out first and shook her hand with both hands. They don't know if it was intended or not, but the Altiplano watch on Yi Qing's left wrist revealed itself. Naturally, the chat was again full of sourness and pettiness, with stuff like, "Please, no. Bro, don't be like this," and so on. Some people who knew what's what recognized Yi Qing's Altiplano series watch. What the heck? This young and already filthy rich, how are we supposed to live now? Bai Daoer already rejected the invitation, so Yi Qing didn't continue on with the polite talks, and said, "Alright then, you do what you came here for, we're gonna head up now, see ya." Having said goodbye to Bai Daoer, the two under the guide of the receptionists entered the VIP elevator, then Gong Wei exposed a wicked smile. Mr. Yi is truly a man of honor, not even bothering to invite such a beautiful girl a few more times. Mr. Yi being this upright, then let's switch to some honorable place instead tonight, how about going to Chingui's KTV? Mr. Gong, have you heard of the idiom, a promise is worth 1,000 gold. Ha. Gong Wei, just like hitting the slot machine, patted his leg while laughing out loud. Gong Wei's booked VIP room was on the 5th floor. From there it's possible to see the night scene of the streets below. There were even 4 wonderful waitresses waiting there, wearing nothing but short kipayos. Add on the 2 supervisors who were already waiting, there was only 4 people who came to eat and celebrate. This meal's main target was Yi Qing, so apart from several signature dishes that needed to be ordered beforehand, everything else was ordered according to Yi Qing's taste. Of course, when 4 men are eating together, there definitely isn't anything entertaining. Having opened 2 bottles of aged Mao Tai, the 4 men while drinking talked about men things, resulting in a lively atmosphere. They're also here to set the foundations for future endeavors. Having stayed until the lights were blazing in the streets, the moon was high in the sky, and seeing that the time was past 8:30, Gong Wei happily went and paid for the bill. Gong Wei definitely knew how to act like a gentleman. He conveniently asked the acting manager if the girl had left yet, and when he learned that she hadn't, he also paid for her bill as well. The diligent driver was already waiting outside of the main entrance with the Bentley. Again, acting very professionally, he gestured Yi Qing on board. Time to go to the Silver Palace. Gong Wei happily snapped. Chapter 36. Operation at 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Trepetro. The Silver Palace Entertainment Club was located on Shinda Road. Although its location was somewhat remote, it's definitely one of top-tier clubhouses in all of Zhongyan. When the Bentley arrived in front of an ancient-looking building, which from the looks of things took up more room than a government office building, the time was already approaching 9. That time is the golden time for all men to head out and get high. It's also the busiest hours for all bars, clubs, lounges, saunas, and massage parlors. The Bentley stopped directly in front the club's massive, triumphant gates. This time, without the need for the driver to get off, a row of waiting receptionists wearing red evening dresses came forward to do his bidding. Mr. Gong, the room which you booked has already been prepared, please follow me. An intelligent, pretty-looking girl wearing a Chanel suit with a set of golden glasses, warmly welcomed them at the entrance and led them to a golden elevator. When the two approached the elevator, it automatically opened its doors. Seeing this, Yi Qing could only yell inside, what is this high-tech elevator, it even has automated doors. Two rough, alert-looking young men walked out of the elevator with a wealthy middle-aged man. So it's not an automated elevator, Yi Qing finds him making a fuss about nothing quite hilarious. The two rough-looking men are probably bodyguards. When they passed Yi Qing and Co., they clearly stared at them with guarding looks. Getting into the elevator, Gong Wei's driver muttered. Those three clearly have ties. Gong Wei smiled. Who cares, even the Reaper won't behave atrociously here. Their room is on the 7th floor. Walking on mattress-thick wool carpet, and walking past rows upon rows of sculptures and oil paintings in the hallway, a lowly lit room, with a cute-sounding fountain and walls covered with glossy obsidian, appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Yi Qing was clearly shocked by Silver Palace's wealth. Although obsidian is a very common gemstone, yet to use it to cover some tens of entertainment rooms was definitely impossible without at least several millions in investments. So what do you think? Imposing. Gong Wei joyfully asked Yi Qing to take a seat, then nodded towards the beautiful manager standing outside, indicating to her that the night will go on. Very. Who opened this club? Just the decoration alone would cost more than several hundred million. Yi Qing, having sat down on the comfortable leather sofa, was quite puzzled as to where the screen went. At the same time the mic, the speakers, these must-haves for all clubs were missing. Except right in front of the sofa was a row of 8 recesses on the ground. The bottom of those recesses was full of glittering jewels and not a speck of water. What's going on here? It can't be that these pools are for us to sit in, then call and watch a bunch of girls sing, right? Ah, who cares, might as well as go with the follow, they'll tell us what to do when the time comes. This place can't be subdued with just one owner. Just from what I know, this place has 6 different owners, and each is more powerful than the other. Gong Wei sat back and crossed his legs. This is Zhongyan's biggest money sucker, a single VIP card alone cost 880,000. Just as Gong Wei finished speaking, a spell of gentle guzheng like music sounded off throughout the whole room. Closely following, the fountain in the corner of the room also woke up as the sapphire-like lights underneath began to dance with the flow of the music. Shortly after the door to the room opened, a group of beautiful girls wearing court skirts and carrying trays with all kinds of soapstones gracefully walked in. Within the soapstone tray were all kinds of dazzling fruits and plump nuts. The vessel used to contain alcohol was also unusual, it's actually a porcelain wine urn. If it wasn't due to the misty lighting and the soft sofa under him, Yi Qing probably would have thought he got teleported to some majestic cave in ancient times. The mystery was finally over. The 6 ladies with their white dresses neatly bowed and said hello misters. Then one of them, while smiling, went next to the dazzling basin. Yi Qing doesn't know what switch was pressed, but a wave of mechanical sounds could be heard as several pieces of rock slid away and warm, steamy water poured into the pool. The remaining girls pulled Yi Qing and Gong Wei, and his driver, into the individual changing rooms hidden in the wall. No wonder Gong Wei wanted to bring me to this sauna's style was simply too high. That skinny driver, just like a carp on land, rushed into one of the change rooms with hurried breaths. Gong Wei rejected the girl's service and went to change by himself. Yi Qing also expressed that he'd change by himself. To be fair, Yi Qing really is looking forward to situations like this, but to have someone else help him change is still simply too embarrassing. Within the changing room is a short-sleeved bathing robe, and a pair of disposable wooden clogs. 2 cell phones were held in Yi Qing's hands as he put them in the specially designed waterproof case beside the misty pool. Ah, comfort. Comfortably warm spring water, heated to the most suitable temperature. As soon as the lower body enters the water, there is only the feeling of muscles loosening up. Before Yi Qing returned, the girls all spread out to handle different tasks. Some received a wool rug and placed trays of grapes, lychees, pomegranate seeds, and small urns of fine liquor and milk on them. This is truly for the enjoyment of capitalists. These girls with their long court dresses would unknowingly get them wet as they removed the vivid skin from the grapes and placed them in Yi Qing's mouth. Furthermore, someone else was kneeling behind Yi Qing, using her tender fingers, giving his shoulder a light massage. Watery mist filled the air, just like the palace of immortals. Their long dresses were very thin, so as soon as it got wet by the mist and the pool water, it became even more alluring, and even speed up people's blood flow. Partnered with the ever-flowing guzheng music, Yi Qing comfortably let out a yawn, extended out his waist and slowly began to enjoy this. Seeing the men, under their attendants, loosen up and enjoying themselves, the 6 girls gave each other a smile, then stood up together, retrieved sets of white curtains from the hidden closets and individually isolated each pool. Then, the 2 that were waiting upon Yi Qing also squeezed into the curtain section, gave Yi Qing a sweet smile, and moved their hands behind their slender necks to reach for the black ceramic buckle behind them. In front of Silver Palace's super-luxurious, triumphant gates, 2 rows of beautiful maidens neatly lined up. When a luxury car stopped in front of the gates, they came forward and welcomed the client. A wave of engine noise rumbled through from far away. The maidens raised their head, thinking that it's just more business, and just as they prepared to greet the car, a very ordinary Jinbei van, rushing into view from the corner, screeched to a stop in front of the triumphant gates. The 2 rows of maidens were clearly dumbfounded and stared at each other. Ever since the opening of the Silver Palace, this is the first time they've met someone who drove a normal van here to relax. You have to understand, normally as long as your car is worse than a BMW S7, you'll feel embarrassed to drive it here. It's probably not some drunken village boss, who saw lights here, and thought that it's KTV here, right? The greeting maidens all smiled, and got ready to show this country bumpkin what a member clubhouse was. However, before they even had the chance to get close, the van doors all popped open. A short-haired, slender-legged female with a leather jacket, who is able to make these maidens feel inferior, jumped out of the van. This is an, although female, attention magnet. Her loose short hair gave her a kind of indescribable violent and formidable-looking temperament. With the driver in tow, 6 men jumped out of the car with exceptional swift actions. These men all crossed their arms and stood behind the short-haired girl with javelin-like straight backs and exceptionally sharp gazes. Shit, she's definitely here to catch her sly boyfriend. The dumbfounded greeting maidens snapped back to reality, and just as they were about to call the security guards with their mic pieces, the leading girl with an icy cold tone stopped their actions. I'm Zhongyan Public Security Bureau's Special Criminal Investigation Team Superintendent 2nd Class Zhang Jitong. This formidable-looking girl pulled out her credentials and said, "Don't worry, we're not here to mess with the place. Please call out your managers, we have evidence proving that there might be 3 suspects hiding here, hence your cooperation." At this moment, the time just turned 9. Chapter 37. Operation is a Go. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Tripetro. If the police came here to trash the place, then the girls probably wouldn't care about it, but if the special investigation team was here to search for suspects, then that's an entirely different story. The floor manager of the Silver Palace quickly came out and guided Zhang Zhitong and her fellow comrades into the lavish lobby. A short and confused man was also brought over by the greeting maidens. "You're the manager here?" one of Zhang Zhitong's colleagues asked. "Can you provide us a list of your clients here?" "I'm Chao Weihua, the general manager here." Chao Weihua opened a pack of 1916 Yellow Crane Tower, and passed it around to all the special investigation members. Having finished distributing smokes, Chao Weihua said with some awkwardness, "This is a members-only club. The people who are able to come here are all people with prestige and power in Zhongyan. If I were to provide you guys with our clientele, then my boss will probably sack me. I can understand your difficulties, but I still need you to cooperate with us." This officers indicated for everyone to take a seat. Silver Palace is a members-only club, but if the word got out that suspects are hiding here, then wouldn't that ruin your reputation? Yes. Helping out the police is the duty of every law-abiding citizen. Chao Weihua apologetically smiled. "Let me ask my boss first." The call went through very quickly. Having explained the current situation, Chao Weihua faced the police and said, "We can provide you with the list, but my boss said that if you guys find who you're looking for, then please try your best to cover your actions afterwards." "Sure, we'll keep this a secret for you." Zhang Zhitong, who was in the middle of everyone, nodded, just like a leading sister. The cashiers ever quickly handed over a list of all clients who were currently still in the palace, but after examining it multiple times, the police still couldn't find who they were looking for. Just like the manager said, everyone who could come to the Silver Palace weren't ordinary at all. On this client list are multiple familiar-sounding individuals with huge influence in the local area. Of course, names of governmental officials would never appear on here. Even if they do come here, it would always be under the invitation of someone else. When has it ever been them paying the bills for stuff like this? "Bring out tonight's security footage," a member of the special investigation team imposingly stated. "I can't do that," Chao Weihua carefully explained. "The security room only keeps the footage of the public areas, plus it's stored on an encrypted server. Without the boss's security pin, there is no way us employees can access it. Moreover, our club here frequently have visits from several people with sensitive status. If the security footage could be accessed at will, then wouldn't that piss them all off? Go call your boss and have him come over. We definitely need to access the security footage as we need to cross-check all the suspicious individuals." Zhang Zhitong told Chao Weihua to go make a call. "The people we're looking for aren't on the list, they're probably here under different aliases." Chao Weihua hurriedly went to make the call. As for Zhang Zhitong, she turned her attention towards the receptionists. "Did a middle-aged man with two young individuals enter here tonight?" The middle-aged man is definitely extravagantly dressed, the two young men are around 180 centimeters, average build, but very conscious of the surroundings. "Yes." Two receptionists immediately reported. "At a bit before 9 Mr. Gong brought two people in that matches your description very closely." "Who is this Mr. Gong?" "He is the boss of a major company in the industrial park. Full name is Gong Wei, but can't remember which company specifically. There are specific details on the members list, but only the owners can access that information," Chao Weihua recalled. "But they don't look like the suspects you're looking for at all, and he's been here multiple times already this year. Please carefully recall again, is there anyone else that matches this description?" A special investigation member placed down his finished cig, and kept his gaze fixed on the elevator. "Our evidence trial definitely isn't wrong, these three are confirmed to be here. We'll give you guys some face by not searching every room. But if you guys provide the wrong targets for us to catch, then we have to apologize as we can only seal off the place and search the building room by room. Chow Weihua felt cold sweat raining down his back. If this group of people seal off the building then screw the business, they might as well as switch to a KTV bar. Of course the possibility of them doing that is very unlikely. With the owners handling the pressure from above, they haven't experienced a police raid in all the years they've been open. It's just that Chow Weihua before only dealt with firefighters and public security members. He's solely missing the special investigation teams, and he was also unfamiliar with their operating style. So what if they ignore everyone's influence and actually do seal off the own building? Please hold on a moment, I'm going to call Supervisor Shui down. She's the one in charge of handling Mr. Gong tonight. Chow Weihua immediately used his earpiece to contact Supervisor Shui on internal channels and called her down. Supervious Shui, with a fashionable Chanel suit and a pair of golden glasses, walked down very quickly on high heels. Several team members finally turned their attention away from the elevator and main entrance. How can it be Mr. Gong? He's already a regular here. Supervisor Shui's every move had traces of elegance and grace. Mr. Gong is the owner of a chemical plant, at most able to earn several tens of millions annually. How can he go do illegal business? Oh right, before when Mr. Gong's group got on the elevator they met a group of 3. It would seem that they have some beef with Mr. Gong cause they were extremely cautious as soon as they meet with Mr. Gong's group. A couple of the investigation team members suddenly stood up, with graveness in their eyes. You said this Mr. Gong owns a chemical plant. Ah. Is it really him? Supervious Shui is seriously scared now. But the 3 that they met at the elevator, is it possible that it's them? The police now immediately gather around Zhang Jitong and began to discuss this possible link of evidence. Now they have 2 sets of people matching the given descriptions, and the most important part is that they might know each other. What they are here to catch today is a group of extreme criminals, who have the guts to produce and sell dangerous chemical drugs that are listed on the police's easy-to-produce chemical drug watch list. TL. Breaking Bad. Anyone? Those drugs were originally used by hospitals as anesthetics and morphine replacements, but recently due to new research results and proven side effects, it was replaced by other chemical compounds. But because of those side effects, they became the most popular drug to sell for some criminal organizations. One of their sources said that tonight at 9, a group of them will meet with an owner of a chemical plant at Silver Palace to discuss the sale of those drugs. These 2 groups of people perfectly fit the description, and they even had contact in front of the elevator, even if it's only exchanging looks. Again, asking the waitresses, the movements of the group of people who met with Mr. Gong and Co. were quickly found out. It would appear they've been here since last night, the one in charge of receiving them yesterday is on break today. After calling that supervisor, they found that a very unfamiliar member of the club showed up at 3 in morning, opened a room and nothing happened after. That would be the first time they've left the room, and when they exited the elevator, they didn't leave the establishment at all. Instead they went to the restaurant and are currently there enjoying their Western meal accompanied with live piano music. According to the analysis of the evidence, the 2 groups of people have already made contact. They're probably going to meet upstairs after they finish their meal. Then waiting for them to finish their discussion and catch them when they're exchanging money and product is undoubtedly the best option. 7 special investigation members split into 2 groups, Zhang Jitong with 3 colleagues camped in the room right across of Gong Wei's. The other 4 lay in wait at the exits of the restaurant to monitor the movements of the group inside. The 3 in the restaurant had already been confirmed to be tonight's operation targets. Gong Wei is highly suspected, but all they need to do is wait for the 3 to finish their meals and meet up with Gong Wei. Then everything after that is just a walk in the park. Attention, attention, the 3 targets have gotten up. Before 2 minutes has passed after the camping started, Zhang Jitong had already received an alert from the people downstairs. Shit, they're leaving, they're headed towards the main entrance. The ones in charge of watching the targets on the ground floor cried out. Go go go! Zhang Jitong yelled out. Then a beautiful and slender figure popped out of the room across of Gong Wei's. With her jade-like leg raised up, she kicked open the wooden carved door in front of her with a bang. Chapter 38. How are you going to explain this? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Trepetro. When Zhang Jitong and her team charged into the room, Yi Qing was still lying flat in the pool with two girls on his left and right giving him a massage. It's just that their way of massaging is sort of different from the conventional way. The two girls were just applying some super expensive rose essence oil on Yi Qing's back when a team of deadly serious people charged in. The sound the door getting kicked open gave everyone quite a scare. Yi Qing thought there was a fight going on in the halls, and then someone crashed into the room. The serene and peaceful atmosphere was completely ruined. Hurried footsteps followed suit, and just as the girls were about to stand up to ask what was going on, the snow-white curtains were ripped apart, and black tubes of death had the girls swallow back whatever they were going to ask. Don't move. 3 different voices exploded within the room. As soon as he raised his head, Yi Qing was completely flabbergasted. Zhang Jitong was also dumbstruck, the gun in her hands, just like magic, was frozen in place. Why is it you? Why are you here? The two never thought that, after the round of drinks at noon, they would meet each other under such a situation. This question, as well as each other's shock, was quickly visible in each other's eyes. As for Gong Wei and his driver, they didn't have the same luck. 2 highly trained investigation team members, without wasting any effort, had the two under total control. The 6 snow-white girls, with cries of surprise, all huddled together. How could they not be panic-stricken when there are 3 wolf-like men staring at them? We're cops, hurry up and immediately put on your clothes. Under this situation, even with the utmost professionalism, Zhang Jitong still blushed. Before when she charged in, she immediately saw the shadow of attractive girls kneeling down to give their attendee a massage. Now with the curtains out of the way, she found her old classmate, who she had just finished drinking with at noon, lying there in the hot spring enjoying himself. Of course she also clearly saw all of Yi Qing. What in the world could be more awkward and embarrassing than this? As if time had stopped, coupled with the huge surprise, the two sank into deep thought. An indescribably pissed off Gong Wei, even as he was under the control of the task members, yelled out. Holy shit, what the flying FK? Do you guys know who I am? Why book me? What law did I fking break? Sir, you guys definitely got the wrong people, we're law-abiding merchants. The driver is much more calm and collected. He clearly knew what kind of place the Silver Palace is. If someone was able to get the establishment's security guards pass and charge into the private rooms, they definitely had the consent of the Silver Palace. Then their police identity was naturally real. Whether if we're wrong or not, we'll know as soon as we do a verification. The 3 team members didn't do anything outrageous, the situation is already under their control, so it didn't really matter that much now. Zhang Jitong's situation on the other hand is kind of awkward. She's stuck half kneeling beside the pool. The guy in her hands is like a hot potato. She can't put him down, and can't lift him up either. As soon as Zhang Jitong saw Yi Qing, she knew they got the wrong people. Yi Qing is only involved in producing cutting tools, and that is confirmed by all their classmates. His cutting machine factory has already been open for more than a decade, plus borrowing money to get past recent difficulties, and accepting government orders to make a living, the two had already discussed it during lunch. So there is no way that he'll become a henchman for the chemical plant this quickly. Understanding aside, but why the hell is Yi Qing here in first place? At noon he still had a man of honor feel, but now he is sprawled out in this brothel-like place, and is together with other men doing this kind of vulgar shady business. This kind of affair is difficult for any woman to accept, it's even more so for the just and righteous Zhang Zhitong. Sis, the operation at 9 you told me about at noon, how did I get involved in it? At this critical moment, men nevertheless had to be a bit more brazen. Yi Qing quickly grabbed the nearby bathrobe and covered himself up, comforting his violently beating heart at the same time. This was seriously a scare that can scare someone to death. A moment ago he was still enjoying this rare delight, then with the turn of an eye, there was someone standing there point a gun at him, of all else the one pointing the gun was a freaking girl. This kind of psychological shock was simply too big, and too stimulating. This was a situation which Yi Qing wished to never experience again. The several attendants quickly got dressed while trembling, got Yi Qing and Ko's clothing out of the change rooms, and bolted out of the room like frightened deers. An investigation team member checked their clothes, and found no knives or guns. Zhang Zhitong turned around, and with a voice filled with hatred, told Yi Qing and Ko to immediately get dressed. The several team members, while overlooking them getting dressed, were secretly rejoicing at their misfortune. They can deduce from the exchange just now that Yi Qing isn't only acquainted with Superintendent Zhang, but also had lunch together at noon. Now he got caught trying to have some fun. He. Gong Wei, just like a rampaging bull, sat down on the sofa and raged on. Just you wait for the retaliation from the left secretary of the city council. You're Gong Wei. The team members each minded their own business and asked, completely ignoring the words left secretary. Yeah, that's me. Do I need to pull out my ID card for you to check? Gong Wei responded by rolling his eyes. Don't tell me you're here to catch prostitution. You guys clearly saw, my friend and I are here only for the massage. Before at the elevator, did you know about the 3 men you met? What, you think I know them? Gong Wei finally found the reason why they're here. It's definitely the coincidental meeting with the 3 who got off caused a misunderstanding with this bunch. No, don't know them. You guys come booking with such circumstantial evidence, just you wait for me to describe to the left secretary of how poorly you guys treated us. We probably made a mistake. Let's wait for old man Wang to bring up the other 3, then we can get sense of the whole picture. Zhang Zhitong, having already put away her gun, sat down on the coffee table with no spirit left in her. She's covering her hot and steamy face with both of her hands, with clear signs of regret. Having seen all of Yi Qing gave her quite the awkward feeling, and also an unknown amount of rage. Why the hell is Yi Qing in this sort of place, as her impression of him from lunch was pretty outstanding. Oh right, we've got everything under control up here, how come there's still no word from downstairs? Zhang Zhitong stood up and spoke into the mic on her collar. Old man Wang, what's the situation down there? The hidden earpiece remained quiet for a while before transmitting an embarrassing answer. We hit a snag down here. We only caught the old one. As for the other 2. What's up with the other 2? Zhang Zhitong and her fellow colleges immediately had sour expressions. They didn't leave the establishment, they escaped into a storeroom. It's just. There's hostages in the storeroom. Zhang Zhitong nervously asked. No, they don't have any, the manager is also by my side. The storeroom has no other exits, it's just. The door for this storeroom, we have no way to open it. Alright, that's not bad. You guys keep an eye on the storeroom, we'll be down immediately. Zhang Zhitong turned around and with a voice full of hatred and regret said. Yi Qing, you guys come down with us. We've already got the main suspect in custody, everything will be clear really quick. Gong Wei with a humph, picked up his jacket and went out. The team members all guarded the group down the hall, down the elevator, and saw rows upon rows of suited-up security guards. This group of sly foxes didn't show up when they needed help. Now that they have their targets under control, they all come out to join the party. Bypassing the restaurant into the back passage, just Zhang Zhitong and Ko reached the end of the passage, a group of suited security guards were detaining a middle-aged man with zip ties. The other 4 officers, with guns in hand, were grouped together in front of a giant platinum-like door, with awkward and embarrassing looks. Manager Chow Weihua also came around, except he's barely able to control his emotions. Beside him, two people who appeared to be the captains of the security guards were all on their phones, making machine gun-like calls. "Don't look at me, I have no way of opening that." Before Zhang Zhitong had even asked, Chow Weihua rushed to complain. "This is our clubhouse's cigar and liquor storeroom." When a waitress was leaving the room, the two vermins rushed in before the door had been fully closed. Those two were simply too alert. Just as we entered, they were already running off. Seriously quicker than rabbits. One of the team members explained ashamedly. "Luckily we had the main entrance sealed off, so now they're stuck in there." Zhang Zhitong nodded and went up to test this platinum door. Except the extremely muffled echo informed everyone just how thick this door is. "Manager Chow, what's wrong with this door that even you guys can't open?" "This door has lots of locking mechanisms, and those two rats locked it from the inside." Chow Weihua shook his head, unable to offer any help. "This is an imported blast door specifically designed for gold and jewelry vaults by America's Hamilton Safe. As long as it's locked from the inside, even explosives won't be able to open it." A immaculately dressed man with two cute girls in tow, hurriedly pushed past the workers in the passage and rushed over. When he saw Gong Wei, he was first stunned, then immediately came forward to apology. Lu Tianyang, "Mr. Lai," Gong Wei, with displeased looks, spit out each word. "My friend and I having been involved in this, how are you going to justify this?" "Mr. Gong, and this sir, please have patience and wait until we're sorted out the mess here, then I'll personally come over with compensation to make up for this." Lu Tianyang bowed and sincerely apologized to Gong Wei and Yi Qing. Boss." Chow Weihua hurriedly came over. "How the heck are you police officers doing your jobs? Seriously, not even able to catch some lowly street thugs?" Lu Tianyang's face was pale to the point of him being able to act as a zombie, seriously as bad as it can be. "Do you guys know what's in there? Hundreds of Cohiba's 40-year anniversary cigars, dozens of cases of Arturo Fuente. Piles upon piles of other name brand cigars are also inside. Caskets of 20-year-old La Romane, Conti, Ma Sandra, and the likes are also in there. Wines like Louis XIII and such that are in there can fill entire bathtubs. Do you guys fing understand?" Speaking up to here, Lu Tianyang was almost roaring. "Now that you enclosed two vermins inside, you're seriously asking for us shareholders' lives." A MacBook was quickly passed over from the back. Lu Tianyang with red eye, opened the security software and entered a series of passwords. When the screen switched over, 4 streams from the cameras inside popped up. Within the pictures, dazzling wooden racks filled the entire storeroom. Within these racks are rows upon rows of high-end liquor casing and tons of delicate wooden boxes with lots of English words on them. The two sneaky devils, at this moment, each had a cigar in their mouths and were flipping over the stuff on the racks like sorting through garbage. Under their feet was full of scattered cigars. A casket was also spinning on the floor, leaking out precious scarlet red wine. With a pata, the MacBook from Lu Tianyang's hands dropped onto the floor. His face, now having turned ashen white, fainted on the spot. Boss. Chapter 39. Make way. Professionals coming through. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Trapetro. Gong Wei was secretly laughing inside. Lu Tianyang's expression had him feel a lot better. A case of Cohiba's 40-year anniversary cigars cost over 100,000 yuan. Arturo Fuente also cost around the same. As for the aged wine, that's even more expensive. It's impossible to find them on the public market as they're only sold in auctions. These things, in a bottomless pit like the Silver Palace, will at least double in price. And that's when there are discounts. Having experienced such a problem in the Silver Palace, even involving Yi Qing, had Gong Wei feel really apologetic. Now that the two suspects were stuck inside the storeroom, the police couldn't do anything to them for now, and the suspects also couldn't leave, so they simply went on an unrestrained destruction spree inside. Lu Tianyang was immediately screwed. The police were also screwed. Now that everyone's screwed, Gong Wei felt a lot better. Yi Qing, with his hands behind his neck, was secretly laughing on the side. Zhang Zhidong and several other police members came to disturb my enjoyment. If this occurred to anyone, then who would be pleased? Dispatch, help me contact a locksmith company, I need the biggest one. Zhang Zhidong glanced at the laughing Yi Qing. Those glances were just like having caught her husband cheating on her in bed. Yi Qing stared back at her, not caring at all. Under the help of several underlings, Lu Tianyang finally woke up and stood up again. I don't care anymore, I don't care what methods you use, but you must immediately get those two fkares out of my storeroom. Lu Tianyang was now consumed with rage, to the point where he even wanted to swallow the police whole. Mr. Lu, calm down, locksmiths are already on the way, they probably have a way to open this. Zhang Zhidong carefully examined the vault door in front of her, grabbed a mic, and looked for ways to convince the two suspects to give up. Not long after, two locksmiths wearing red vests and carrying a super large toolbox were led over by the receptionists. The two locksmiths had probably never been in a place that is this lavish, since they glanced everywhere. Silver Palace's lavish decorations had them stunned to no end. When they reached the end of the hallway and saw the giant platinum-like door, they immediately snapped back to reality. The FK. A blast door. The locksmiths placed down their toolbox, examined the keyhole and the engraving plate, then looked at the surrounding police. This is America's Hamilton Safes Class 5B vault door, specifically designed for gold and jewelry vaults. Due to considering the likelihood of robbers heisting a jewel company, it was designed to have two ways to open the vault. There's a hand-turned mechanical lock inside with no need for keys or passcodes. This way people could hide inside the vault without fear of the robbers. This door also has anti-cutting properties. On the very inside is a layer of super reinforced glass. The four corners of this piece of glass are connected to the heavy lock mechanism. No matter if it's drills or flame cutters, there is no way for them to not break this layer of glass. As soon as the glass breaks, the heavy lock will completely lock the door. When that happens, there is no way to open the door from either sides. A door that is so high-tech, that when the police heard the whole explanation they immediately turned to Lu Tianyang to complain. You're not even keeping gold here, so why the hell did you get such a door? Lu Tianyang's expression was full of disdain, and refused to answer this question. You could consider breaking through from the side. These kind of blast doors are made with special steel, so even flame cutters will have a hard time cutting through them. These are load-bearing walls. The storeroom is also specially designed to be at least a meter thick, and is filled with anti-seismic rebars. Lu Tianyang smiled coldly. Let's not talk about whether you can cut through. If you do break these load-bearing walls, then should I move the Silver Palace into your office building? Very quickly, someone brought over another laptop. When Lu Tianyang linked it to the security system, they found the two suspects with a bottle of Hennessy in each hand, rinsing their mouths, drinking some then spilling some. Lu Tianyang spent much effort to withhold the urge to smash the laptop into smithereens. This storeroom was roughly 70 square meters in size, with a computer-controlled heating system to preserve the cigars and liquor. Apart from the main door, there wasn't a single window. One of the police officers found a mic and yelled towards the blast door. Listen up you two, if you open up the door, come out and surrender. We can go light on your sentencing. If you continue to destroy the inventory inside, then that'll only make your sentencing worse. Come on in if you got the guts, don't stand there crying like babies. From the other side of the blast door came a weak yet arrogant response. Just wait until I've wasted all the liquor and smokes here, then I'll naturally come out. B**********H, F King B asterisk 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 H. Zhang Zhitong was seriously pissed off now, taking over the microphone and yelled. When you come out have fun in prison for life. Does it look like I give a FK? Come on in if you can. Doll. The two suspects replied back annoyingly. There was no hope for the police to do anything now, so Lu Tianyang flipped through his contact list for a long time, before finding a Silver Palace member who could help. The member is one of the owners for Hongxin Shipbuilding Co. Limited. They have business everywhere. They've even built more than one seagoing cargo ship. There's definitely no problem asking them for help. As Lu Tianyang tried to contact his client who was an expert in metal cutting, the police was stuck with nothing to do, so they went and questioned the bound man right on the spot. Coupling the security footage from the laptop and his testimony, the police very quickly cleared Yi Qing and Co. of all charges. Everything was purely coincidental. This group of suspects came in yesterday looking to discuss tonight, with the owner of a chemical factory, the exchange of large quantities of easy-to-manufacture chemical drugs. The suspects were very vigilant, as they stared straight at Yi Qing and Company. Yi Qing and Co., as to not to be outdone by them, stared back at them. Along with the fact that Gong Wei just so happened to be the owner of a chemical factory, this led the police to mistake them to be working together. The several team members who went up to capture Gong Wei and Co. all came over to apologize, except Gong Wei was looking up and completely ignored them. So sorry. Zhang Zhitong stands in front of Yi Qing completely embarrassed. Her hands were entangled together and her eyes were looking at her feet, as if there's millions on the ground. Forget it, forget it. I'll be generous and forgive you again. Yi Qing replied as he waved his hand. Having cleared the situation, Yi Qing and Co. could leave. Except just at that time, a team of workers, carrying oxygen tanks, acetylene tanks, and large cutting equipment walked in. This is the result of Lu Tianyang using a series of blood specials, free room, free events, free liquor. Basically lots of free stuff, to convince the boss of Hongxin Shipbuilding Company, Limited to send over a team of professionals. If there was a ranking of which cutting team was the strongest in Zhongyun, then there was no doubt that it's going to be the people from Hongxin Shipbuilding Co. Limited, who are in contact with all kinds of metals and ships every day. A large vessel, from design, to putting down the keels, to welding on the entire outer hull, the amount of steel required is astronomical. And these steel plates also need to be cut into different shapes and sizes. Just use the steel used in China's domestic F-40 boat for example. This is a super strong kind of metal alloy. Its melting temperature and its pulling resistance is just incredible. Even under 0.60 degrees C, it'll still retain its toughness. Even if it's used to construct an icebreaker, it'll still be able to operate in Antarctica in the middle of winter. High toughness also implies high difficulty to cut. Sometimes when constructing large vessels, the outer hull can be as thick as 60 centimeters. One can imagine how strong Hongxin's metal cutting abilities are. Chapter 40. Please, I'm the actual expert here. Alright, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Translated by me, edited by Trapetro. Now don't mention Yi Qing, even Gong Wei doesn't want to leave. Cutting open the vault door, this was a situation only seen in those super heist movies. Where the heck would you find this kind of situation in reality? Seeing the team approach, Lu Tianyang seemed to have met his savior, and immediately went to meet them. The security guards behind him even shoved whole boxes of royal prerogative into their hands. TLDR, SIG brand, http://baidu.com/view/2155384.htm. This kind of top-grade gift made the group of men who spend their days by the sea happy to no end. Even the police, who were guarding the door, went up in turn to fawn upon these saviors. The leader of the bunch, having received the high-end cigarettes and praises, slammed his chest and guaranteed that they'll have the door cut up like Play-Doh in less than half an hour. Having had his guarantee, he immediately pulled out a small hammer, knocked a couple of times, and used the echo to estimate how thick the door was. Roughly 30 centimeter thick, while the silver-white door seems to be made out of stainless steel. Who cares what steel it is? The foreman, quickly and easily, set up the oxygen and acetylene tanks, brought his torch forward and lit it towards the imposing door. Under the presence of 3000 degrees Celsius flames caused by oxyacetylene, even transformers had to be afraid. The white flame screamed out. The huge ripping sound in the atmosphere had everyone sweat cold sweat in fear. The kind of terrifying temperature caused by oxyacetylene, if used to cut people, then it would definitely be more efficient than a lightsaber. Then, the silver-white metal door didn't give a damn. Oxyacetylene's high-temperature flames burned it for close to a minute, yet only a reddish dot appeared on the door, with no traces of any metal melting under the heat. Pop! A burst of glass breaking and the falling sound of heavy metal gave the working foreman quite the scare. He immediately called out for what happened. It's the door's anti-cutting measure that got tripped. It's definitely that heat that caused the glass inside to break, but don't worry about it, just continue to cut. A police waved his hand, showing exactly how much he cared about it. Thinking about it, if the police are here, the criminals, staying inside a sealed-off room filled with world-famous cigars and liquor, then of course they're going to do some destruction to enjoy their freedom while they still can. As for the two inside, it's not like they want to head out, so who gives a damn whether the door is sealed shut or not? A minute passed, and the majority of the metal door had already been burned red. Even Yi Qing, who was behind everyone, could start to feel the heat coming off of the door. However, the metal under the flames only had a small dip. With this rate of progress, they probably needed at least a month before they could open a passage that is big enough for a person to pass through. This door has definitely been heat-treated. The foreman, who was already sweating like pig from the heat, turned off the torch and ashamedly said, "Let me try some other options." In the security footage, the two suspects were laying in the corner enjoying the famous cigars and wine. The climate control system inside the storeroom eliminated any and all traces of extra heat. A big and cumbersome machine-like equipment was hauled in by the workers. Having connected it to a power source, a worker with the torch in hand specially warned everyone to look away, otherwise if they hurt their eyes then don't blame them for not warning them. What is that? Gong Wei was kind of curious to find out what the rectangle-like machine was. Plasma cutting machine. The principle behind it is just like an electrical welder, except it's able to produce much more terrifying temperatures. This kind of equipment is specially used to cut those high melting point metals, it's even able to cut through stainless steel. Yi Qing hinted for Gong Wei to not look directly at the torch, turn around and continued. But I've already seen enough, this door's heat coating is simply too powerful. The oxyacetylene before was only able to burn a small dip, the metal inside has traces of black, so it probably has some nickel in it. Although plasma cutters can cut through nickel alloy, it's got a fatal flaw, for it's not suited to cut through thick pieces of metal, especially these small versions. Just as Yi Qing finished explaining, a white arc that is even more terrifying than before, lashed at the silver-white door. Under the huge rumbling, the outer plating of the door slowly began to melt. When the torch blasted away the melted metal with compressed air and exposed the nickel alloy inside, the rate of progress clearly slowed down. However, no matter how the workers adjusted the flow of electricity, the torch couldn't pierce through the 30 centimeter plus thick door under any circumstance. The situation was like using a 10 centimeter long nail to try to pierce through a 20 centimeter thick block of wood. No matter how much the nail is hammered, it'll never pierce through the wood block. As time went by, many club members whom had already had their fun, saw all the workers and equipment going back and forth, all of the staff grouping together and discussing, and suddenly like sharks who smelled blood, they all swarmed in. Their excited looks, laughing expressions, some even pulled out their camera and started to record everything. That really made the security guard's job difficult, as these clients' influence was simply too great. A random hair from one of their legs was easily able to be used as a spear. They don't dare to go up and snatch away their cell phones. Lu Tianyang, seeing so many clients watching, faded into the background. Zhang Zhidong and her fellow colleges were also anxiously waiting for results. At this moment, calls were being made as if it were raining. Phones were ringing off the hook, and the callers are all people with power trying to find out why there was such a mess. As of right now, this story and its related photos had spread out throughout Zhongyun's forums like wildfire. Zhang Zhidong was on the verge of a total mental breakdown, getting reprimanded by other leading figures is whatever. But the one who had complete trust in her, let her lead this team on this operation, also gave her a ruthless rebuke. Seeing that only a 20-centimeter long gash was cut out in over 20 minutes, Zhang Zhidong and her colleges could be seen with hints of despair in their eyes. Even if they wait a day for the workers to cut a small door, then what about the other 10-some centimeters of the door? It's not like they can just kick it down. This is a freaking blast door. Do they really have to resort to using an anti-tank shoulder missile on it? The amount of people watching kept growing, and the sound of laughter also kept on growing. This bunch of big shots definitely won't help the police out here. Coming to catch people in the Silver Palace alone had already upset them. Now that this group of police had caused this big of a mess, there was no way that they were going to help them out. Please guys, can't you think of other ways that can cut open this door? Zhang Zhidong's eyes had already begun to turn red. Just like how pathetic someone is after getting bullied. No can do, unless we can get a large-scale plasma cutter here, there is nothing else that can do the job. The workers who were operating the cutting torch had already stopped their futile attempts, and embarrassingly explained. Except those large-scale cutters weight more than several tons. The area it needs to operate is several times the size of this hallway. Unless we can move the door back to the yard, then. As for the rest of the sentence, he didn't bother finishing. If they can move the door, then where was the need for them? This bunch of cutters came full of joy and expectation, except now they're leaving with their tails between their legs and an unfinished mess. The big shots who were watching all laughed joyously. They were seriously enjoying watching the police tossing and turning in this mess. Why don't you change that into a jail? It's definitely more robust than any other jails in use, and you can even keep them in there for life. I know Lu Qian, if you can convince him to come, then he's probably able to pass through this door. Convince the Italian jobs director to come. He definitely has ways, haven't you seen his heisting abilities in the movie? The men in the squad all turned into ostriches. They all turned to face the wall, as if saying I hear nothing, I hear absolutely nothing. Girls are seriously sensitive in all aspects. Zhang Zhitong stared on as her colleges turned and became ostriches. Yi Qing caught a glimpse of tears dripping down from her clear eyes. Humiliation, powerlessness, sorrow. Those feelings were not only burying themselves inside Zhang Zhitong, but it also made Yi Qing quite uncomfortable. When all's said and done, she's still my old classmate. Helping her out here will definitely curry a favor into the future. Walking forward, Yi Qing lightly patted her again delicate shoulders. Stop grieving, leave this door to me, I'll have it open in no time. You. Zhang Zhidong turned around, used her beautiful misty eyes and looked at Yi Qing completely flabbergasted. Yes, me. I have a plan. Yi Qing warmly smiled, just like a graceful prince coming to the rescue, and not the man who was lying there getting a massage. Did you forget? My family's been in the cutter machine manufacturing business for more than a decade. I can say that we're true experts in the field. Cutting up special metal isn't hard, you just need to find the right cutter. The squad members who were just acting like ostriches turned around lightning quick. They used a speed that is faster than when they were chasing the suspects and rushed next to Yi Qing. Little bro, you really have a plan. Little bro, it's all my fault before, please accept my apology first. Lu Tianyang also came over with flashing eyes, professional cutting machine manufacturer, these couple of words were even more pleasant than the sounds of heaven right now. Yes, if Yi Qing said that he could with nothing to back him up, then this bunch of police would only think of him as boasting. But Yi Qing said his family's been in the cutting machine manufacturing business for more than a decade. These words hold a completely different meaning to everyone here. Little bro, let bygones be bygones and cut open this stupid door. As soon as Lu Tianyang heard the words, more than a decade in the cutting machine manufacturing business, he immediately patted his chest. If you can do it, then from now on you're officially a platinum member in the club. Haha, of course brother Yi can cut it open. Gong Wei also joined in on the fun, and explained. Before, when my factory's equipment had some accident, it was exactly brother Yi who fixed it with extraordinary mechanical skills. Cutting open this door is literally a piece of cake. Then what are you waiting for? Zhang Zhidong's face was like a duckling, fully able to hang a can of paint from those lips of hers. She, with hidden bitterness and pettiness, stared at Yi Qing. Well, time to go grab the equipment. Yi Qing snapped confidently. Let me give you a ride. Let me give you a ride. Gong Wei hurriedly had the driver get the car ready. The Bentley ran off as fast as it could, leaving behind a bunch of people anxiously waiting for the return of their savior. Yi Qing had Gong Wei drop him off at Sai Street. There, in the nearby parking lot, was his van. Arriving at the parking lot, Yi Qing had Gong Wei go home, the reason being that his Bentley simply wasn't able to haul the required gear. It's not like the roof has enough space for all of it. Haha, then I'm gonna leave now. Once this is all over, let's get together to celebrate again. Gong Wei was now feeling sleepy. He was really getting old, not to mention the scare with the wolf-like police. Now that he's seen all the fun tonight, it's really time to get some sleep. Bidding farewell to Gong Wei, Yi Qing squeezed into the van. Which cutting equipment is the strongest? Naturally, it's the MPCV abundant amount of modifications, where the only need is to modify the arms of the vehicle. However, it's really not worth going through all the trouble of changing the arms of the MPCV because it seriously is a money sink. After the arms completed their use, then Yi Qing still needed to pay to switch it back. Furthermore, within the app shop there's a bunch of readily available metal cutting machines up for sale.